So far, so good. I think we're live. I think we're live. Okay. Let me share the link to my friends on Discord, and we can get started. We're actually going to dump it right here, and y'all are going to get to see me post it live. There we go. Okay, welcome. This is a new one. We're gonna trying something a little different today. Obviously you all know I'm Shuko, and today I brought in a couple of my Linkshell mates that volunteered to be victim slash chatter people today. Because I'm trying this for my first time, so I don't know how painful this is gonna be. But I have a couple questions that we prepared. And we're going to talk about Final Fantasy XI today. And then to save and kind of change things up at the end, we're going to talk about our favorite not Final Fantasy XI thing. So today I'm bringing you Aston, who's... we don't have like a real second in command. We have our warders for leadership. But Aston was probably the first leader that took a real serious role in the Linkshell. And he's been with us for a long time. And then Ushiko. And Ishiku's been with us for a couple of years now and has been a real core player involved in the DPS lines of things and on all levels of understanding. And Zoras, our resident troll. So, well, okay, Zoro actually does have a really good bard and a good tank, and he learns jobs very quickly. When he gets into something, he'll go after it so hungry that it almost annoys the crap out of all of us. And then eventually he'll satisfy his hunger and find something new eventually. But yeah, he's always there and always trying to, help out and stuff. And sometimes you'll see me get frustrated with him. But at the end of the day, if you're willing to show up and try, that's the most important part. So, that all said, let's start with the questions. So I have 5 prepared questions, and I'm going to go down the order with Nathan and then Ushi and then Zoro. The first one is, what is your favorite Final Fantasy XI thing? So the examples I have are for me, it would be skill chains and magic bursting. I think that makes the game unique and it's its branding thing. And then its story. But all right, Athen, let's start with you. Hi, Athen.
Hi. Yeah, I think for me, kind of building off the story, one of my favorite video game series is the Final Fantasy series, and typically find yourself sort of in the role of the protagonist, and it's to immerse yourself, you basically have weapons, magic. In 6 you have espers, in 7 you have materia, in 8 you have your GFs and stuff. But one of the things that I really like about 11 is the fact that you have a much more holistic opportunity to be a citizen, in air quotes, of Vana'diel. You can, of course, run around with a job, you can learn magic on your character, you can equip weapons, you can do the skill chains, the magic bursts, but you can also do crafting, you can synthesize food to help your stats, you can synthesize materials, you can make gear, you can really, for me, one of the things that I really like as a red mage at heart is I like the fact that, of course, there are spells in the game for healing, damage dealing, etc. But I like the fact that there's also spells, Sneak, Invisible, and Deodorize, that help you move around the game and it lets you explore various areas of the game. It lets you avoid aggression as you're a level 25 character. You can run to the ends of the earth and back because stuff isn't going to want to kill you since you can sneak past it. So I really like the fact that there's sort of they took what the games leading up to 11 had, the combat angle, but then they also added a little bit of utility to it so that you could see actual people, if they were in Vana'diel, hey, I've got to deliver this message to someone and I have to run through, I don't know, Pashao marshland, so I'm going to cast Sneak on myself so that the Quad Ofs and the Malboros don't aggro me as I'm running through here. So for me, that's probably my favorite thing, is just to be to feel like you're through your character, your avatar, feeling like you are a citizen of Vana'diel.
I would say, thank you. I would say especially the server. I think there's a lot of server ownership that people get, and the thing that comes to mind of what you're mentioning, and it's funny you said Pashbow, is you can also be smelled by some monsters, and one way to lose a lot of monsters, not all, but one way to lose a good chunk of the monsters in the game is to run over a stream or a lake or some body of water. So, yeah, there's a lot of that real deep interactivity, like the moon phases, etc. But okay, so next up, Ushi, or Ishiko.
Yeah.
I always call you Ushi by short. Sorry, hello, Ushi.
Yes. Hello. Yeah, I'm going to echo a lot of what Athen said. You know, the fact that this game has nearly an unlimited degree of customizability. Is that a word? I think it's
yeah.
word,
I think that's a word.
Cool. You know,
If it's not, we're minting it right now.
Yes, exactly. You know, your character is your character, and in that sense, it's an extension of yourself. You know, when I first played Final Fantasy XI, my sister was playing before I ever played, and she played since launch when it came out in 2002 on the PS2 with the hard drive disc or the hard disk drive and everything. And you know, when I saw a video of a samurai, I was just enamored, and I was like, I want to do that. And I've always had an appreciation for Japanese history and the samurai in general. I play a lot of samurai games. Ghost of Tsushima is another one of my favorite games, but never played Sekiro, although I've debated it. But my general favorite thing about 11 is just the customizability of your character. It's yours. It's an extension of yourself. You know, when I come home from work, it's fun to come home to these guys and let loose and play and just, you know, I'm not going to say it's a rough world we live in because it's a lot better than some places, but being in Vana'diel is a nice escape from the things that plague us in normal life. And
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Here.
And especially in you know, during COVID, I wasn't playing this when COVID came out, but damn, I wished I was because I spent a lot of COVID being bored in quarantine, and
it's a big boost for us.
Shortly after. Oh yeah, and so that's my number one thing. I won't talk too much, but I will just say customizability. Your character is you. It's an extension of yourself, and I love that. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Ufi. All right, Zora. Now I'm a little worried, but I still trust that you have astute answer to this. What is your favorite Final Fantasy XI thing?
I think, honestly, it's falling in love with a lot of the characters. I know that kind of sounds hokey, but when I came back to the game, it was because I started looking up certain characters and, like, trying out more about them. It's like, who is this August character? I've never heard of him before. What, is there a male Mithra? I don't know who that is. And then coming back to the game and just being able to learn about them and learning about other characters that I forgot about. Like, I think I've said before, Gesho is one of my favorite characters because he is just so deep, and I love that he got more story in the new expansion as well.
Well, spoilers, but yes, I agree that I was glad to see Gesho return.
I won't say what he does, but yeah, he's involved. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it was good.
All of them. Honestly, I think all of us have characters that we just really like. I think you have Cornelia, and now she's back as a trust for, well, a few more days. But I think all of us have these characters. And I think for all of us, there's just so many characters that it's impossible for like everyone to have the same favorites. There'll be a lot of overlap, but they'll always be like, well, I really like this character. And I think that's really cool. And then getting to see them again pop up in like weird places with all like these expansions, then reusing them in really neat ways.
Yeah, and then using them as trust too comes to mind, which is something that was kind of fun and new. I mean, some people would say it created some problems, but at the same time, it's really neat to fight side by side with some of the historical characters of the story.
Definitely.
Okay, so that was the first question, and I want to keep it positive in the beginning, but, no game is perfect. So the next question goes into the negativity. And that would be the most disliked thing about Final Fantasy XI. And the examples that I have, and I have one in particular that I complain about all the time, other than people not wearing damage taken sets, and that is the party alliance limited targeting. And my examples of this would be if you're a paladin and you want to cover somebody in another party of your alliance, you can't. You can only cover people within your party. If you're a white mage and you want to erase somebody outside of your party, you can't. You can only erase people within your party. The same was with blue magic and healing waltzes. And this is, I mean, I could really go on about many things that frustrate me about the game, but the biggest pet peeve that I personally have is that. So, let's start with you, Athen. What is the thing you dislike about Final Fantasy XI the most?
Well, before I hop into that, I just wanted to reiterate and give kudos to Ushi on what he had said about like that enamoredness he had with Samurai, because I remember the day that I thought I'm gonna try a different job, and I picked up Red Mage and I fell in love with it. And that feeling of just experiencing the game almost like new from start for the first time was just a wonderful feeling, and it's certainly a great one. So I'm glad he fell in love with the game and he's able to live vicariously as a samurai through FF11. But my most disliked FF11 thing, I mean, I had a hard time kind of narrowing this down, and based off the discussion that has been pretty prominent for me the last couple of days, I would have to say some degrees of the RNG can be a little rough. And of course, within Sortie, that's typically my example, but even a little more lightheartedly, I'm known in the Linkshell as having the single-digit lots, and
Lots.
And obviously, it's all RNG and it's all in good fun, but I think there are some parts of the game where, even though some things are Herculean tasks to do, knowing that if you put in the elbow grease, you can get it done, I think is something that I enjoy more. It can suck for sure, because you're just doing the same thing over and over again. But if you know where the end goal is, you can chart your progress, you can keep track of where you are on that path, and you can, every step forward is a step forward. And I think, while there are some parts where the RNG factor, and I know this is not FF11 specific, there's RNG in everything, but within FF11, sometimes it just seems like if you're after a specific item, like let's say Tartarus plate mail, good luck.
Good luck. I did get it eventually.
Right, and it's like, that's the best we've got. Good luck. Maybe you'll get it from Pluton. Maybe you'll get it from what the Master deems worthy. Maybe you'll get it from the AMA Trove, if you're lucky. And I don't know, it just, I wish there were some other ways, especially since the game is 20 years old, to kind of help usher in some of that. I don't want to say to make the game easier, but to give people who want to play the game a reason to want to maybe keep turning the crank just a little bit every day if they wanted to work towards something.
I think that's really astute.
When they raised the level cap, I know that was a big deal for a lot of people, and I think a way they really could have revitalized the game would be to have said, if there was anything you wanted to do at 75, now that the cap is 99, you have a much greater chance of being able to do that with a small group or by yourself. You don't need a group to go into salvage now. If you want Alexandrites to make a mythic, you can make a mythic. It's possible. You can make a relic. It's possible. And I wish that there was more of an emphasis on that, just because it's not so much driven by the whims of RNG or others' availability. It's something you can do to better your character for that efficacy.
I could see that.
To you.
I could see that. Something that comes to mind for me there with the RNG is the 0.1% from stuff that you'll see from the guy's fate path and how rare some of those drops are. But then again, I mean, I've been in Sortie 50 plus times and I still don't have a +2 earring of any job. So yeah, the RNG there can be frustrating as well.
And
Well,
if you do get a +2, good luck on those augments, because hopefully they'll be good.
Yeah, right. It's true. It's true. So Ushi, what about you? What is the least favorite thing about Final Fantasy XI that comes to mind for you?
I'm going to echo both of y'all. Definitely the RNG for some aspects stinks. You know, if you're looking to get that Dagon breastplate, you know, you have a higher chance of getting it from Trove than you are an Omen boss, which I've done Omen. We've all done Omen here probably hundreds of times, and I've seen like one body drop. But
I've seen one,
RNG
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, and RNG definitely stinks, but I definitely am going to say that my least favorite thing is what Square Enix is doing now with the limitations of 6-man content. I understand it, but I also don't want to, because the whole purpose of this game is to play with people and to forge relationships and to form alliances and to have a good time and get a lot of people progress in the game. So, you know, when I heard Sortie was going to be another bit of 6-man content, I was kind of bummed, like a lot of people. You know, Odyssey is obviously designed to be the more challenging content.
Tighter.
6-man, yeah. But maybe Sortie will extend. You know, in all fairness, they have not said either way if they're going to extend this to, you know, larger groups. But
yeah, we're right before the patch. For timing, for if people watch this later, just to throw this quite in here, we are right before the +3 Empyrean stuff gets launched. So if you're watching this months later, we don't know what that involves yet. They may actually make it 16 or 18 player, but we're unsure of that yet. It's probably still going to be 6 player.
Yep.
Yeah, it is October 8th.
So
listening along.
And so with the 6-man content, it's really counterproductive, because obviously you want to get your less skilled players skilled up, and then you hit the conundrum of, well, you don't want to do the hard content with people that aren't as skilled or aren't as experienced, and those people that aren't kind of get left out, and that does suck. It does hurt me. You know, I hate to.
It's the saddest thing.
Yeah, to tell people, well, sorry, but you know, you can't come. I mean, obviously, I would take anybody into any content, but. Yeah, just the 6-man limitation. I just feel like it's opposite of what they desire for people to team together, and I hope they advance with more 18-man content in the future. So,
okay, that sounds really good.
Could I phone one in real quick on my least favorite FF11 thing?
Sure.
Ongo.
Ah!
Yeah.
Okay, Ongo is an Odyssey boss. Yeah, we've struggled on that one for a while. Our cell doesn't have a lot of powerful mages, and when Odyssey Vengeance came out, we hit a wall there for a little while. Yeah, that's a thing. Okay, well, I don't want to skip Zoro. So, Zoro, what is the least favorite thing of Final Fantasy XI to you?
I mean, honestly, going back, and it's like building off of Athens' original concept of the RNG, it's just not the inaccessibility, but just like content that seems to have been aged out, and there's really no reason to do it anymore, even though it could be fun and could be fun to do as a group. And then again, with the RNG, I was trying to do the Meeble mazes or whatever, not mazes, the Meeble thing.
Meeble Murrows.
Yeah. And I did it. I did it all the way to the start to the end, and it's just like the drops. Like I tried getting, I was thinking, I was like, oh, eventually I'll get 12 Sand horns. And it's just like, oh my god, the drops are terrible. Like, if you want to redo it again, you have to pay 1 million gil each time. Or you can basically spend like 2 hours grinding assault-style stuff. And then it's not just that, it's just the inaccessibility of a lot of stuff. Like, salvage. Nobody does salvage anymore. Salvage is terrible. I wish they would come, and people are like, oh, it's terrible, it's awful. It's awful because the reward is just terrible.
It also fills your inventory with a bunch of junk to unlock your gear slots. There's ways they could improve it.
Oh, that's the original salvage. The tier 2, it's just like an automatic thing, so you don't have cells in your inventory.
But the tier 2 is still not that one, because we're on past it. The prizes are not worth it. It's not worth it to do salvage 2 in a group, because you don't get enough Alex to basically justify it. And there's a lot of that content that feels like I never got to play Abyssia. Like I know you hate Abyssia. I would have loved the opportunity to play Abyssia where you had to go in with like basically a whole group of people, get 18-man content again. Like I know it'll never happen. I think this is a question later.
You know, honestly,
Abyssia 2. I would love
Abyssia was at least 18. You know, as much as I hate Abyssia, and it's true, I'm known for that, it at least let you do 18. So it's got that going for it.
And it had various, like, there were certain reasons to bring certain jobs. Like, I know Black Mage wasn't really a powerhouse back then, but you brought a Black Mage and you had, minus the blue magic and the song procs, you had the yellow procs down pat so that you could unlock more items to drop from the enemies you were fighting. And I know a lot of people don't like the proc system, but it was at least a clever enough way to incorporate various jobs into the game to help with item drops.
And then also we had one inclusion content. That's another thing that's fun, but we never do because the prizes aren't worth it. It's just stuff like that. Like I would love to see Incursion 2, Salvage 3, and Abyssia Divergence. Or basically it's the same as Abyssia, except like everything's basically level 140, level 150. And I know that sounds incredibly difficult, but
no. That sounds really good. So Zora, let me propose something that I think like it's blended in with an idea that I was talking about a couple days ago in the Linkshell. If we could control our level caps, right, and knock ourselves to 75, kind of like when you level sync to somebody, and then go into this older content, but instead you earn like ambuscade points, and you could spend those monthly ambuscade points on, you know, Rama items like plutons and baits and all that kind of stuff. And then maybe each of them are small, like they aren't as big as ambuscade, and you have to rotate between all the different contents. But that would incentivize people to do these things, I think.
I mean, that's definitely one way. But the thing is everyone basically is working to get basically master level 40, master level 50. I would like content that actually feels like it's worthy of that, and not just like because Swordy's kind of like a lot of people have different ideas about Swordy. But just basically bring back all the older content and just bump up the level to what we can do now. Master level 50 is supposed to be the cap. They're not supposed to basically introduce a whole bunch of new stuff after that. So just reintroduce the stuff from Master level 50.
We haven't seen Bahamut yet in Modern, so I would like to see that. But I have suspicions about where that's going to go. So first, I just want to say, hi, Chris. We see you there. And Hasso... what was that? Chris is saying that they would love to do the old content, and Time Walking Dungeons is a good example, and I agree with that. I think that's a really good example. So, yeah, it's definitely something that I think they could look at, and I really did enjoy a lot of the older content, and limiting our level also is a new challenging way to go back, you know? Like, there's I'd have to create macro pages for, you know, level 30 play versus level 50, but that's better than having to keep a bunch of gear. If you all remember those days.
I mean, who knows? Maybe you would like Abyssia Divergence if you actually got like 5 to 6 to 7 drops per kill. And you have to basically grind it over and over for hours.
Maybe. But, okay, so we've covered 2 questions so far, and I think we're about 20 in, so our pace is... We're doing okay, but let's move on to the next question. This one's an easy one. So, what is your most wanted item that you probably think you'll never get? And so my example for this is really easy. They have a lottery, a bonanza, that they run twice a year. And for me, it's the Onion Sword 3, which essentially lets you unlock Fast Blade 2. And I think that Dancer would be able to break that with Climactic Flourish, and I would love to test it. I know a bunch of people would probably say the Ninja Katana from that, but as much as I love that Ninja Katana, I love Dancer more. So, that's my answer. But, Hassan, what about you?
For me, it's a tie. Since we've been talking Swordy, for me, my most wanted item, until they introduce something better, would be the Lethargy Earring +2 with basically max stats, just because of how good it would be. But if anyone knows how long I've been playing, the other item I would really, really love would be a Contemplator +1 from Tumult Curator.
That's fair. I'm gonna say UNM bonus this week is starting, so hopefully we'll get it for you. We've tried though for many months. This has been a process. Okay, well,
but that's why we, unfortunately, I was talking about the RNG and how that's something I don't like.
Yeah, it's fair.
That's why I keep fighting Tumult Curator.
And this is why we have an Athen lot meme as well. So, yeah. What about you, Lucy? What is the item that you think you would never retain but you want?
I would definitely say the Yagyu Darkblade, the ninja katana that comes from the Magwanenza, because I love ninja. It's another one of my top jobs that I put a lot of work into, and I just think that katana is so broken in so many ways. I think it's a game changer for ninja.
It is a game changer, I agree.
Yeah, and you can do a whole lot of stuff with it. Shout out to, I think it was Ruomoko that made a video on it. And it was really interesting to see the capabilities and the potential of that thing. I just think it's totally cool, and if I had one, I would be giddy.
I would shout out the character. Whatever character donated that to Ruomoko to test, big love to that, by the way. That took a lot of trust, and it helped all of us. We all were very fascinated by that video.
Yep.
So, all right, Zoro, what about you? What's the item that you want that you don't ever think you're going to get?
I mean, I'm going to be more realistic. Like, I could definitely say another rank 1 lottery weapon, but to go against the grain, I think I hinted at it earlier, the Tankumaru, which is just honestly a gloss weapon. It's just basically, it's a lock style pulse weapon, but it's the great katana from the Meeble burrows, because first of all, getting a pulse naturally is like almost impossible, and then above that, just trying to get the Imperiux locks, like just looking at it, it's just so depressing. I don't even want to touch it at this point. So I honestly think, it's like realistically, like maybe I'll win the lottery one day. Maybe I will get one of those. Maybe I'll get a Yagyu Darkblade. But honestly, I don't see myself getting a Tankumaru. I'm not going to have a cool Thunder Great Katana Lock style.
I would hope that one day they wind up giving us a way to get it other than a lottery, and this was just like a preview of things to come. But who knows? So, on that note, the next question that I had prepared was most wanted feature. And I put in parentheses, that you don't think we'll ever get. So you can kind of be imaginative with this. Examples I put down is a more enhanced user interface, like such as things that Windower adds, and, take away job lock animation problems, or even if people are in the natural user interface. Timers, so that you don't have to use gear swap to do 0.1 second swaps. I mean, the user interface overhaul would be big, and I'm just want to specify that. But then as the side little guilt love would be triple triad, like it's in Final Fantasy XIV, and link it to all past content. So like when you beat Omega and Ultima and Chains of Promathia, you could get the card. The card could drop from it, and so on and so forth. And like you start collecting the triple triad cards from 11, and they all have different values, and you can challenge your friends and stuff. I think that would be epic. But okay, that's on me. So next up would be you, Athen.
Also, it would be cool if there was some sort of a card mod incorporated into the game, but that would probably break things. So for me, my most wanted feature, again, sort of a tie. I agree with what you said. I wish they would, at the very least, revamp the macro system. I wish you could program it so that, and I know there's Windower add-ons, but I wish there was a way that you could do it in-game, where you could have the pre-cast and the mid-cast set ready to go with like a 0.1, or have it like put on a pre-cast set, start casting, and then change to your mid-cast set without it screwing up the way that your macros go. And who knows, maybe it already does that, I just haven't tried it. But I wish they would revamp the macro system. The other feature that I would really like, and I know they've said that they can't do this, so this is me being wistful, would be more spell and abilities and trait. Because for me, when they were talking about we're going to add master levels on top of job mastery through job points. So job points, are great. They got a lot better when they added gifts, because then you would see stuff like Utsusemi-san, Refresh 3. You would see Tier 6 nukes. You would see Death. You would see LOL Full Cure. You would see Helix's 2. Like, spellcasters got a little bit of a boon. I mean, heck, even Red Mage got Tier 5 nukes. But, like, I wish they would add new spells through the job mastery system. Like back at 75 era, you would fight Genbu, which I don't remember what level he is in game. I want to say like 85 or something. He could cast Poison 3. Byakko could cast Dia 4. Level 99 plus 2500 JP plus...
And you still don't have it.
40 master levels, and you still can't cast Poison 3, you can't cast Dia 4. I don't believe... What is it for white mages? Banish 2 is the highest it goes.
Yeah, Banish 2.
Banishka 2 is the highest. Like, they don't have Banishka 3, they don't have Banish 4.
But the animations are there and the data. You see the animations for all that stuff.
There. I just wish they would incorporate it for the players, because it's really disheartening to be like, as a black mage, it's like, you are the epitome of magical destruction in Vana'diel, but there's still some abilities that you can't cast. Like, there's still some spells you can't cast. Or, like, Red Mage, you can things to hell and back, but you can't cast Dia 4, unlike Byakko. You can't cast Poison 3. You can't cast Virus, like NM, Mushrooms, and Sanctuary of Zeta. So
yeah.
I think even for ninjas, like, some spells, they just stop at the Ichi level, and I wish they would give them a Ni level. So I think for me that's my most wanted feature, is just more
spells.
New spells, not just like Paralyze 3, but like, I don't know, I talked about
Amnesia,
Poison 3, but like, you can get new strategies when you have new directions you can go. So
I think it would be neat if Red Mage got Amnesia.
That would be game breaking, but it would be cool. I wish, for the longest time, I wish that like Red Mage could cast Frog, and it would be like a costume change for a mob, and they would just do auto attack. But
Paralysis 3. They're out Haste 3 and Paralysis 3.
Yeah, Haste 3 would be nice, or just make Haste scale with enhancing magic so that you could get a natural capped magic Haste 2 with enough skill, because Haste is one of those spells that doesn't tier with skill. You just need duration. So that's mine, I would say, is just more, because it offers more degrees of strategy and freedom and
that's fair
and whatnot.
I haven't heard Duty Finder yet. I guess that might be Zoro's suggestion, or Chris might throw that out there in the comments. But then again, not everybody's played 14. But Uthi, what about you? Is there a feature or something that comes to mind for you?
Definitely the echoing again on the macro system in the UI. I do not feel like you should have to use, well, you don't have to, I don't guess, but for the min-maxers out there, it's like you almost use gear swap to do certain things in the game, with the help of another LS member.
Yeah, shooting.
I've had to pretty much make a whole, it's the only job I have a almost entire Lua for, and that's Ranger now, because of pre-shot, mid-shot limitations, and
same as the quick shot issues.
Yeah,
a quick cast with the mage.
Yep, having so much snapshot or fast cast or quick magic, it's like macros oftentimes don't have the ability to
switch in time,
get the full buff of the gear. So it's that's a frustration, because gear swap is an absolute gnarly beast, and I've spent hours referencing another LS members and experimenting with it in Doe Gates to make sure everything works right. And it's a beast. For someone like me, I mean, I don't have a background in coding or anything like that, so it's been a lot for me to have to learn. And
And you'd
just,
want to have fun, yeah, playing with it for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big gripe of mine, basically, is that. And last but not least, I won't talk about it too much, but make Black Mage great again.
Make Black Mage great again. Okay, so
Please.
Clip, just before we had Clip enter the room, I just wanted to let you know, Clip, we're live on YouTube right now. So just a heads up. We've been going through some questions and stuff that I posted on the event board. And so just as a fair warning, but we're on Zoro's turn now for the most wanted feature.
I'm not going to read. Like I already mentioned earlier about outdated content being updated again, so I won't say that again. But to basically echo off Ushi and making Black Mage great again, I know Blue Mage is still really good. It's very niche, but I would just love to see more love given to Blue Mage like they did with Red Mage. No, just something. My personal preference, I would love for them to get one of those Mage 1-2 hour buffs that fully unlocks their Blue Mage spells. And the reason being is that there's really no single combination of Blue Mage spells that would make Blue Mage broken, in my opinion. And what that could do is that could free up setting Blue Mage spells completely to traits. You don't have to basically set like all these spells that like you have to have, otherwise like you need your haste, you need your attack. Like no, all your set spells will still be useful. They'll all just give you job traits. And then you have all of your other spells otherwise. So that way you can basically have all the Adulin AoE nukes.
So
because honestly, like, they're all situationally powerful, but is it really going to be like having to swap them out and then wait 2.5 minutes? Wait 2.5 minutes for new job traits? Yes, that's fair, because you don't want to basically have triple attack and then suddenly you have fast cast and blah, blah, blah. But again, I think otherwise, just having access to your full Blue Mage spell list really is not going to be broken in today's age. Like, it's not going to be that bad in comparison to what everything else is.
I would agree with you as long as they don't give every job. So, like, if a Blue Mage would get access to every single one of their spells simultaneously and they're mastered, they would wind up getting every job trait in the game, sans one, and it would be really high, and that would wind up powering them up to really stupid levels. So as long as they avoided the job trait linking, I think it would be okay. It'd be like a temporary job ability.
That's the only way to get, like, job traits would be specific to setting your spells. You still have to set the spells for job traits, but you'd have access to your full spell list for casting.
That's fair, I think.
You have access to everything for, like, chain affinity. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting.
No, who uses those anymore? Because who basically like puts in an attack spell anymore? Because you don't have room. Because you're putting in 4 or 5 of the Adulin spells because you get better traits.
Yeah. Yeah, traits are really important for sure. You want to get your dual wield, you like to get magic attack bonus, double attack.
Give them a buff that frees up their entire spell list, and then setting spells is only useful for setting traits.
Yeah, it's a shame that it winds up playing like that. But, okay, so Trick and Mordeth just entered the room, and I just want to let you guys know we're live on YouTube right now. So just as a heads up, we're going through an interview with Athen, Ushi, and Zoro. So we've gone through 4 questions so far, and we wind up being on the last one, which is the non-Final Fantasy related question. Magic attack bonus, double attack.
You can hear it in the background.
Yeah, he's got me playing. I'm gonna mute him real quick. Okay, so final question for the night, guys, is favorite non-Final Fantasy 11 thing, and that for me is my family. I have kids and partner. And that's a stereotypical answer that everybody should say. So other things I love, Cardcaptor Sakura. It's an anime, a really, really old anime. And she uses cards and has magic powers. And I won't rant too hard about it, but I'm a big fan of it. And Zelda, and the whole Zelda series from Nintendo. Hiking. I love going outside and arboreums and nature and all that kind of stuff. And then modding games. So, like, one example would be the Linkshell mod for the Breath of the Wild. So, Athen, what do you got? What's your some favorite non-Final Fantasy 11 things?
Well, in no particular order. Other video games. I like the other Final Fantasy series. I like Zelda. I really like the Ace Attorney series. If you've never played it, it's a lot of fun. it's surprising how enjoyable it can be to play as a defense attorney. I like. I know the most recent Nintendo Direct had a ton of farming sims, but like I really like Stardew Valley. I've been playing a lot of Fire Emblem Awakening, and it's gotten to the point where I've started incorporating an interest in database work to start creating databases of Fire Emblem Awakening elements, just so that I can practice my SQL skills. Other than that, let's see. I like going out to nice restaurants with my friends, and I like cloudy days. Back to you.
Aw, cloudy days. Yeah, actually, I like cloudy days too. Well, Uchi, what about you? What's some of your favorite Final Fantasy or non-Final Fantasy 11 things?
I am a big, almost sickening fanboy of Hideo Kojima. The first Kojima game I ever played was Metal Gear Solid 1 for the PlayStation 1, and I was not even familiar with Metal Gear. And by the way, before I finish with all this, obviously family and friends, like you said, that goes without saying. Those are some of my favorite things. But speaking of games, definitely a Kojima fan, and here and been teasing hard. It's actually official that Elle Fanning, Dakota Fanning's sister, he just posted on Discord that she is obviously the star of his next project. So
that'll be exciting.
He's of course, he's got connections. He's got he collaborates with big time film directors and all sorts of different things. And that's not why I like him. I like him because his work's really instilled games that have feeling. Like when I played Metal Gear Solid, it wasn't just a game to me. Like I felt it. I felt the whole game, and it was kind of a game or a life-changing game. And ever since then, I played the rest of them. I played Death Stranding and absolutely loved it. It's definitely not everybody's cup of tea because it is a peculiar type of game. But I really admired what Kojima did with it because
I thought it was creative, at least.
It was, and the game was not about killing the bad guy. In fact, the game punished death.
Yeah.
If you killed someone, let them stay dead. And if you've played Death Stranding, you'll understand the story and understand why you can't kill someone. Because when you kill someone, they go through necrosis, and then basically they become a beach thing, and they cause a crater to happen. It explodes. So there's no concept of Death Stranding. So the game punishes death. Like it does not want you to kill people. If you kill someone, you have to take them to an incinerator to dispose properly of their body. So
kind of gives me a Walking Dead vibe. Like everybody that in Walking Dead, if you die, even if you didn't get bit, you'll still turn into a zombie. The virus is in everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely a Kojima fanboy. I also like Ghost of Tsushima is another game of mine. I just got Elden Ring, and I have not started playing it yet, but I'm going.
Oh dear,
and I'm
gonna lose you. Oh no, I'm gonna lose you.
So even though I do play 11 and I love it, I am a huge fan of the long-lived player game. I think the single-player game is actually where my heart is. This is the only MMO I play and will probably ever play, other than 14. I did play it for a while, but
yeah, 14 was fun. I got bored with it after a couple of years.
Same, but that's it. As far as games go, I'm a big Kojima fan. Big fan of very heavy story-ridden games. The Last of Us Part 2, that kind of
Oh
thing.
yes.
So, yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I like The Last of Us for sure. Oh my goodness, the first one. I didn't play the second one yet, but oh my god, I love the first one.
Oh yeah, they're great.
So Zora, what about you? What's some of your? I'm kind of afraid to ask. We're gonna give you the floor here for a little bit. Let's keep it PG-13, please. What are some of your favorite non-Final Fantasy 11 things?
I mean, honestly, it's sort of adjacent, but I do love the Final Fantasy Dissidia series. I loved it ever since the original PSP series with the first two, seeing like these really famous characters, these like iconic characters interacting. And now and they keep coming out with mobile games. Some are good, some are bad, some are only good to certain people. Some are like, oh, I played it, was bullshit. I know my favorite is currently Opera Omnia. because it just involves so many characters, and they actually give them chances to shine, including 11 characters. So it's neat seeing characters that like probably normal Final Fantasy fans don't know, like Lion and Aroha, actually being able to interact with other like really popular characters, and not just Shantoto, she's there too. But again, like Prish and Aphmau, and again, it's really cool seeing them basically interact with Alisade and Warrior of Light and all of them. And then, in addition to that, I do love a lot of JRPGs. Other than Final Fantasy, there was always the Persona series. Persona 3 was my first favorite. Then I played Persona 5. For some reason, I skipped 4. I think I only skipped 4 because I didn't have a PlayStation 3 at the time.
That's a good excuse.
No excuse. And then I'm excited about the new Bayonetta game coming out. Bayonetta's been one of my like more recent favorite franchises. Like the first and second games, I'm so thankful Nintendo saved it. It's so raunchy and bad, but also in a really fun, colorful way. It's just like the perfect storm of inappropriate and just hilarious at the same time. So the new one's coming out. And then other than that, I guess as a more of a blanket, I'm just glad that video game movies are seem to be getting better every year.
We'll
like,
see.
No
Mario movie's not out yet. We don't know how well Chris Pratt's gonna do.
In general, it seems like it's been an incline recently. Like both Sonic movies have lulled us into a false sense of security that they're actually listening to us.
Yeah.
Bowser looks good.
Oh,
Mario
yeah, he does.
Mario could use some more cake, as the internet's been saying.
I liked how Mario looked. I'm not sure how I felt about Chris Pratt's voice yet, but I mean, I love the fact that Jack Black's going to be, Bowser and stuff. I think that's really cool. But
I would love to have seen Jack Black in the recording studio, because I can guarantee he was just getting into it and was so animated as he was hamming it up as Bowser.
In the preview, he sounds like a good Bowser. Like it's good. I think he'll be good.
I'm excited.
Where video game movies have to be, let's put video game character in the real world and see what happens. It's like, it feels like even if the movie may not be perfect, it feels like they at least respect it more. They respect the fans and the lore, which is a lot better than what we used to get like 10 years ago.
I agree. So that's all the questions I had, but we did have a Trichodon and a Mordex and a Clip happen to pop in. So before I close the stream, Clip, did anybody, or did Clip or Trick or anybody, did you guys want to add anything? We were talking about favorite Final Fantasy 11 thing, least favorite, most wanted item, most wanted feature, and then favorite non-Final Fantasy 11 thing. So Clip, did you have anything for us or nah? I'll take that as a no. What about you, Trick?
Zombies and memes.
Zombies and memes? We know you love memes. He is our meme lord.
Was it Back for Blood? Been playing that recently, and first couple seasons of Walking Dead was good. It was the first Left 4 Dead. I enjoy those types of games.
Nice. I'm still watching Walking Dead, but it's more just to finish it at this point. Like, it's kind of like a misery watch.
Yeah, they stopped having so much trouble with the walkers, and it's just how sick people can get. So, I watched the first couple seasons and then fell off.
Yeah, a lot of people did. Usually, I think, well, not to get into too many spoilers, when a certain main character leaves the show, a lot of people stop watching. But, is there any type of features or anything that you think you'd want to see come to 11, or some item that you think you want but you'll never get?
Nothing comes to mind. I think since joining Saints, I've come a long way, gotten a lot stronger, and a lot of stuff is in reach. Playing with a group of skilled players like this, quality of life changes would be nice. We implement some of those with Windowware now, but we'll see if anything gets official.
Yeah, that's not something that players just trying to find what Final Fantasy XI is should have to figure out for sure. It's not like, oh, you want to play Final Fantasy XI? Good. Okay, well, now first you have to fight the play online boss and having 2 different logins and passwords and account things. And then once you figure that out, there's this side overlay thing you should install, and then you got to figure that out. And if you want it to run good, you can use DD Voodoo, which is this other thing. And yeah, but Trick, that was really well worded. You know, I will say one thing that 2 of us listed was the lotto items, because no matter how powerful Saints is, where we can't help your chances of getting a Bonanza item.
Yeah. There's got to be something to reach for.
I know, it's true. So, I think we covered a bunch of really good stuff there. I would say, everybody, I really enjoyed doing this. I had a lot of trouble getting it started. Like, the first time I tried to start it, I was coming up with an error saying I hit my YouTube quota. And I'm like, isn't it free to stream to YouTube? But then eventually I landed on restarting the computer and everything worked again. So woohoo! But thank you everybody so much for joining us. And I'll try this again sometime, but I'm going to talk to my Linkshell about it and see if they're game. And we'd have to prepare some more questions for the next conversation too. But because this is kind of podcasty in a way. But thank you everybody so much. What'd you guys think? Before I cut off the stream, would you guys want to try this again sometime?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like the structured question approach, but also instead of having maybe a list of 5, would just have one question and we could sort of like do a passing of the mic kind of thing, just on a bigger topic. That's also something we could do.
All right. Well, I don't know if I would be able to handle this every week. That might be too intense, but maybe like a once-a-month thing. But we'll discuss that more in private since we're live on YouTube right now. But thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. I'm going to cut off the stream now. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.